Well, good morning to you. This is Tabasco, the egregious beggar from TBSCO Studios. So, I have a little clip here for you from a former CIA director and judge now, Robert David Steele. I'm just going to let this play, man. I'm going to let this play. Don't ignore it. Ignore it, you're sick. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Used to prey on children. Oxfam is a recent example. All of the United Nations organizations, the Boy Scouts of America, all of the child services agencies across the United States of America, they did not start out as organizations to prey on children, but they attract pedophiles. And ultimately, pedophiles end up rising in the ranks and controlling those organizations, so that an organization that initially started out in the service of children becomes an organization that is in fact hunting children. These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture, because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. Most organizations that end up...
I just have to say, what the fuck? Yeah, it's hard not just to go ballistic there and then get the point lost in anger. So I'm just kind of taking a minute to to get my mind right. So that was 24 seconds of, I can't imagine how long of that conversation or committee meeting that was. Man, I never really, I guess I didn't think about it so much. I guess, I don't know, especially when we grew up in the, whatever, 70s, 80s, but even for my own kids who were born in the 90s, man, I just never thought about it. How we were gone from sun up to sundown. I don't know if, I don't know if it got more prevalent or more acceptable. I don't even know which, but there's probably not, I mean, some of the things he just said right there, wow. So this might get wide and deep, but, I feel like that, there's been an indoctrination of our citizenry and maybe the whole planet, I don't know, for a long time from people that don't have our best interests at heart. And do I think that it's magical and mystical powers? No, absolutely I do not. I think that I think they know something. Well, they may not know something we don't know, but perhaps they do. And I don't mean to tear at anybody's, comfort zone as far as, your belief system, but what if, there ended up being a group of people that weren't about evil stuff that woke up and realized the indoctrination and the restraints that have held us people, I'll just say us normal people, although that's questionable. We're completely normal, but we don't do that. But what if we woke up and realized that the morality, the morals that we've lived our lives by, that obviously there's a tremendous amount of people who happen to be rich and winning, by the way, they don't live by those rules, and there's a reason for that. And perhaps it's because they know that the catch-22 and that's been fed to our generations about the religion and blah 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 and this that, maybe they already know that that there's no price to pay. It sucks. You're not going to like to hear it probably, but perhaps things are more scientific than they are personal. And what better way to control mankind than to develop a system. How could they control this planet being as big as it is and wide, spread as it is? And they were beginning to start reaching out over the past, 500 years, 1,000 years. And then they realized that, boy, we can't control all these people because we're not in all those villages. But what if we created a system that they would control themselves, because they would hold themselves to a standard, so even when we're not there, that they'll fall in line, or we have control over them. And what if they know there's no penance? And so what we don't do is we don't react as viciously as they are. I guess perhaps, no, we don't. We just don't. Even our judicial system doesn't. In fact, they just completely ignore an entire level of it. Anything above probably somebody who's connected. So I don't know if it's politics or Hollywood or actors or whatever it is, musicians, entertainers, a certain level of break point, I guess, where they just ignore it. And then there's another certain level where they actually encourage it. And that's not at our level. Our level is you get caught with pictures on your computer, you're going to prison for 25 years, which I'm fine with. I mean, I'd rather they just leave the planet. But the ones above, I remember vividly a year or two ago, a senator, I don't know who the hell this guy was over in New York or Jersey, and they had a recording or something. He was screaming at the kids or whatever, and blah. It disappears, new news cycle, because they control that media. But what I think is what they're not playing, what they didn't count on, and if you're one of them, if you happen to see this video, somebody actually happens to share it, my warning to you is that there are some of us who have woken up and have accepted the fact that things just are what they are, okay? That there's no magic, there's no spells, there's no whatever, and they're not afraid of anything. They're not, especially not dying. They're not afraid to react with like force or just as egregious as this. I can't even go through and describe this, right? What he just said, I just can't, because number one, the video will probably get taken down. But number two, I don't want to, because the mental picture is enough. And for those of you that you may know that already flipped past this video, shame on them. I know how it's easier to stick your head in the sand, but if you would only spend 30 seconds, that was 24 seconds. If you spend that same 24 seconds running through your mind what that would look like in your head, any or all of that, wow. I think at that point we'd probably all start looking out for each other's kids, just not because we like kids, but because it's the right thing to do. But yet I see video after video of women being stalked at, department stores and white vans and this, that, and the other. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people who look for white vans when I go to those department stores. I don't even like going to those department stores, but I've been in more of them in the last few months since we were preparing to sell the house and stuff than I've ever wanted to be. But I actually look for it because I'm the guy who seeks out these people. Boy, let me catch you. There are some of us who realize that we can react just as harshly, and I'm not worried about penance. You're going to be worried about penance. You're going to be begging somebody for forgiveness. I can tell you that when we catch up to you. There are some of us actually preparing ourselves and putting some things together to seek them out. And I've said that before in videos, and that's not a threat. We need a Bruce Wayne. We need more than one. We really do need one big Bruce Wayne, somebody who can fight power with power with power. The thing is, they're not that hard to find. In this day and age, there are so many tools available, but y'all are wrapped up in you got to be at work at, and I get it. Trust me, I've spent most of my life there until they, basically destroyed my career.